Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football. We've gotten through most of our previews for the early games on the week one slate. Now we're taking a look at some of the bigger quarterback battles that are happening during fall camp heading into the 2022 season. And we're starting off with our Michigan Wolverines. Guys, if you guys are fans of college football, you're fans of the content, especially the Michigan Wolverines, consider subscribing to the channel, join the community. We are talking a lot of Michigan football. We preview every game, we recap every game. That is our team. So if you do like Michigan football, consider subscribing to the channel. Dill, I'm going to kick it off to you. This is probably one of the bigger quarterback battles in the whole entire country in terms of impact on college football. JJ McCarthy really has the potential to take Michigan to the next level, and Cade McNamara just led us to a Big Ten title. So I'm going to kick it off to you. What's your take on this quarterback battle here?
As much as I am a Cade McNamara fan and will always be a Cade McNamara fan for what he did for Michigan in terms of this season, I just can't imagine watching the season without JJ starting, just because the talent level is like so different. And Cade's a great quarterback in my eyes, but he's just I don't see him as like a high level pro and just the talent across the board, everything, athleticism, throwing.
It's all JJ.
It's all JJ.
And what did you say to start off? You don't keep a Ferrari in the garage. I mean, the biggest knock that we've seen on Jim Harbaugh's tenure is not really bringing in and developing elite quarterback talent. JJ's our biggest chance as Michigan fans to have that perennial star quarterback who can win a Heisman, who can win a national championship at Michigan. And you look at the future, Cade McNamara probably is not getting drafted in 2023. So say you do start Cade, and you made a really good point. What happens next year when JJ's heading into his third season and Cade's returning and you don't know who to start? JJ might hit the portal. Cade might hit the portal. I think it's time to just give JJ the reins. He has the ability to take this Michigan football program to the next level. And at the end of the day, this is Michigan football. We're not trying to go 9-3, 10-2. We're trying to go 12-0 and win a Big Ten title, and we're trying to win a national title. And I really think JJ gives us that the best ability to do so.
Yeah, that's just what I think. You watch that Georgia game. I mean, we'd never prayer to move the ball for a second under Cade. In the second JJ came in, and I get that the situation was like better for JJ, if you will, because the game was kind of wrapped up pretty much by then. But at least you saw the bones of a guy who can move the ball on these great defenses because he has great individual talent. When you see him running, escaping the rush, making big throws, I mean, that's the thing you need to do to beat those teams when you're a little overpowered. And frankly, Michigan will be a little overpowered when they play Alabama, when they play a Georgia. So sometimes you need that quarterback to be really great at that moment. And I just don't think Cade's got that gear in him to win you those games, to doing something exceptionally. Cade's really good at doing what he should do, not making mistakes, making big throws in timely situations, but he doesn't do anything like that makes your jaw hit the floor.
And at the end of you saw what JJ can do. His first throw in the winged helmet. I mean, he scrambles outside the pocket, off his back foot, throws a rope to Baldwin down the sideline. That's the type of stuff JJ brings. And at the end of the day, we beat Ohio State last year because we could run the ball right down their throat, 5 yards of carry, and just work the ball all the way down the field. We're not going to be able to do that against every team in the country, and certainly not against Ohio State every single year. At the end of the day, you need a quarterback who can make those special plays, and I think that's what JJ brings to the table.
Also, of Michigan football recruiting, they need to see a quarterback kind of go win a Heisman, and I don't think watching Cade makes like a young quarterback think like, oh, I want to go play in that offense where you're running the ball 70 times, 30. Like, you need a magic. You need to show magic. You need to like kind of bring that Andrew Luck feel to Michigan to attract those big dog quarterbacks who are like, oh, I can go and be a top 10 pick, be a number 1 overall.
That's a very good point. You see Ohio State quarterbacks, Bama quarterbacks, all those perennial powerhouses, they put out quarterbacks to the NFL. And you look at why we might have missed on a lot of quarterbacks in that 2022 class, or 2023 class, I should say, is these high school recruits are looking at this Michigan offense and saying, is this going to put me in a position to win a Heisman and go to the NFL? Probably not. I'm going to take us on a little bit of a deep cut here that I don't think is included enough when talking about whether JJ or Cade should start. And Dill, I'm going to kick it off to you. Who do you think is the most talented position group on the offense side of the football here?
Yeah, I think everyone knows you got two running backs who could be two of the better running backs in the country on their own. As a tandem, they might be the best. I mean, Blake Corum's been incredible. Donovan Edwards, as a true freshman, really came on late, started to show what he can do. So, yeah, you want this running game to be really, really good again, and I think it can be really, really good, possibly better.
This is going to be behind an offensive line that I think, as a Joe Moore Award winner last year, I think it's going to be better. You look at who you place. You return 3 guys. You replace Andrew Vastardis, who is a damn good Big Ten center, with a All-American and Olu Olutimi. And it's hard to see this offensive line being worse. And Michigan is still going to run the ball a lot. Which quarterback allows you to run the ball more effectively? I'm going to take us to a clip from the Big Ten championship game. And it's not even JJ making the play, but he's in at quarterback here. And the biggest thing JJ can do, and I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit, is keep those defensive ends, those edge players, accountable in that read option. And we're going to take a look again at this play, and you're going to see this edge guy right here needs to respect JJ's ability to run the ball. We saw JJ use his legs extremely effectively. At one point, just made Brandon Joseph look silly in the open field in the Northwestern game. This edge guy is going to need to respect JJ's ability to run. And what does that do? It gives Blake Corum that extra blade of grass to make people miss. And if you can get Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards in more space, even if it's just a little bit more space, these two running backs can make special things happen. And we see it on this play. Blake Corum gets a little bit more room to work, and then he does the rest. And not to mention, you see JJ haul it butt down the field to throw a block. Cade McNamara simply cannot move that fast. And for that reason, I think JJ just brings that extra dynamic to this offense that not a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% agree. You add essentially an extra blocker. Like JJ McCarthy, at the running threat that he is, essentially creates an extra blocker every play. And yeah, you're right. Cade he's like not an athletic quarterback.
No.
I wouldn't say at the top level. And he's not a willing runner, I wouldn't say, like JJ is. And yeah, it's just like so that you're winning on both fronts, I think, with Cade.
Yeah,
JJ, I should say, a better arm, more electric, and a head and shoulders better athlete.
Yeah, and he lets the running backs thrive in that example, but he also is going to let the wide receivers thrive. You saw multiple times JJ's arm strength, just the ball gets to the wide receivers quicker, and they have more space and more time to make people miss. And you get the ball on a guy like AJ Henning, Roman Wilson, Cornelius Johnson, Ronnie Bell's hands a split second earlier with a little bit more space, and they're going to make defenses pay. And I think that's what JJ brings that Cade just doesn't have in him.
Yeah, I think back to some of those like comeback routes to the far side of the field. It's like if that cornerback's not right on him, like JJ puts it on guys so fast, and then they do have a very good opportunity to be one-on-one and with a lot of space. Whereas like when Cade throws it, it does float out there. It takes half second longer, just frankly, to get there, and guys make tackles more easily. I don't know. There's just a level of excitement that JJ brings to just as a fan. It's like, God, you love watching those elite quarterbacks, I would imagine.
And we've been starved. We've been starved from that. Like we just haven't had an elite quarterback, a Heisman level quarterback since what? Denard Robinson? That's when I was in middle school. So it's just like we need it. I need it. And you look at the best offenses in the country, that's how they operate. They have quarterbacks who can put it right on their wide receivers, and those wide receivers do the rest. You look at Jameson Williams last year. You look at Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave at Ohio State. You get the ball to those type of guys in space, and we have those guys in our wide receiver room. They just need the opportunity to cook, and that's what JJ brings to the table. We've been doing a lot of JJ talk. I do want to talk more about Cade and what he brings, just because of the fact that Cade did lead us to our most successful season we've had in a very long time. Cade's a field general. He's a guy that doesn't make mistakes. If the offense needs to be run a certain way, that's what Cade's going to do, and that's a very undervalued asset at the college football level.
And let's be honest, Cade McNamara was the best quarterback Michigan's seen come through those doors. I mean, I think maybe you could make an argument that Shea Patterson rivals him, but in my opinion, it's very clearly Cade, just what he did. And what he did was make the throws he needed to make. You didn't miss him in clutch moments. That throw against Ohio State when they needed to hit Cornelius Johnson to spark it, and that was a big drive in that game, and he makes the throw, puts it right on him. He did everything like you kind of needed him to do. The problem is he just doesn't give you anything more than like, okay, what do you need from him? He gives you that. He doesn't give you magic. He doesn't give you those plays you need to break through against a team like Georgia, where the defense is just really, really good.
Where you need that quarterback play to make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. Because you are going to bump up into some defenses here and there that are just next level awesome. And I just think sometimes Cade, I just don't see Cade being able to break through at that because he just doesn't have the magic that JJ has.
Yeah, and you look at teams that have won national championships the last 10 years, outside of last year with Stetson Bennett, who in his own right can make some plays. I mean, he was just complimented by a really good offensive line and running backs, but also just a defense that we really haven't seen the last decade.
A historic great defense. Like maybe you don't need a JJ McCarthy at quarterback, but I mean, I guess if you're looking at Michigan, I don't see how it. I mean, you're losing a lot.
What are you going to rely on having a defense like Georgia had last year to finally break through? You can't do it.
20 years. Like maybe Bama had a defense like that, like 10 years, like one of their runs. Like they did win with some quarterbacks who are magic, but they also had those historic defenses just don't come around enough. In Bama, Georgia would have loved to have a JJ McCarthy if it could have worked. I mean,
if Georgia had a guy like Bryce Young playing at quarterback for them last year, I mean, I don't think team would have come in within 21 points of them, quite frankly. I just think that is how important an elite quarterback can make it. And the point about Bama, that was 10 years ago, though. The sport of college football has changed. You don't see defenses kind of dominate and take teams to national titles besides last year. And again, that was just an enigma. That was different. Now you need that quarterback. And again, you made a really good point. How are we going to get quarterbacks, elite level quarterbacks from the high school ranks into the doors at Michigan? It's by having elite quarterbacks play for Michigan. They take those official visits and they go watch a guy who can win at Heisman and put up 400 yards through the air. They're going to say, I want to be that. Do they want to be Cade McNamara who wins at Penn State but throws for 180 yards? Maybe not so much. And so starting JJ, not only does it bring you a higher ceiling, but if you hit on JJ, these guys like Jaden Davis from the 2024 class are going to be looking at this offense, say, this is an offense that I want to play for. And you look at the wide receivers and the wide receivers say, I want to go play for this offense. I want to be part of this explosive offense. Right now, it's not really happening. They're going to Alabama. They're going to Ohio State because those are the offenses that have those quarterbacks and that are having that explosive offensive play.
Yeah, I think this is like a game-changing moment for this pro.
I agree.
This is like a year where it could be really good. And I have to think Jim knows that. And again, as much as I think the fan base loves Cade McNamara,
I love him.
In what he did, I think he helped bring the program forward. Anyone who watches Michigan knows how low it was in 2020, like in that COVID year, how bad that. And you almost thought is this program kind of done? Do we need to reset it? And Cade was very instrumental in bringing it back to the national front. And I just think you need to turn the reins over to the guy like the JJ McCarthy who can just he can go win a Heisman 100%. He can. And Cade there's no way he'll ever
take it to the next level. And I would love nothing more than you have Cade as a quarterback too, team captain, holding the clipboard and really mentoring JJ and taking him to the next level, taking this program to the next level. Because again, Cade, especially if this is how it works out, and Cade does stay at Michigan, plays that quarterback too, and maybe comes in if JJ has to come out because he does like to run the ball a lot. Having a guy reliable as your QB2 helps. But if he just stays in Michigan's number one supporter, I mean, he might be one of my favorite Michigan quarterbacks of all time just because of what he's done for the program. Guys, that'll do it for our quarterback battle, our first quarterback battle episode of the offseason. We appreciate you guys checking us out again. football in less than 3 weeks. Cannot wait. Appreciate you guys rocking with the ROC Boys as usual, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.